Dear Katlego, I hope you are well. I recently watched your new video Respond, and I must say, I'm both honored and flattered that you chose to engage directly with my commentary. When you stated,
Last week, when I spoke about our military, there were some people who simply had to disagree, right?
I recognize immediately that you were referring to me. I truly appreciate the time and attention you've dedicated to this important subject. I would have hoped you would refer to me by name and maybe cut some clips of me into your video instead of merely referring to me as some people out there who think the military should be unfit. You also referred to me as some fools who say we are not at war.
Their job is to be on standby, always ready for war. But there will always be fools that will say we are not at war.
Screw that, we are not a country at war. There doesn't seem to be imminent war. What is this about? What does it have to do with me? But I understand why you would call me that. This is indirect retaliation to me calling out your friend Ronaldo Gous and referring to him as a fool in one of my videos. This loser right here needs some love from us. He needs some love. He really does. For those who don't know what is actually going on here and you are finding this channel for the first time, Katlego and I are currently the biggest enemies on South African YouTube, thanks to all of her offenses against black people and the war I've declared on her for offending me, my wife, my father, my mother, my children, my grandmother, and my church members.
The biggest problems we have in South Africa are the black people.
For generalizing and calling us problematic black people, I've decided to sink my teeth into you, and to the best of my ability, I will endeavor to engage you until you find a better tone about the black majority of this country. If not that, and should you persist in spreading negativity and hatred towards my people, then South Africa will be in for a YouTube racial showdown like none ever seen before. As you continue to sing to your white racist audience, I will use every opportunity to mobilize black people to come and witness the incitement of hate that you are currently engaged in. But nonetheless, thank you for helping me become famous. In a media landscape where independent voices are vital, it is moments like these that remind us of the power of open debate and the significance of knowing one's audience. As South Africa goes into a future divided along mainstream versus independent news and right-wing versus left-wing independent journalism, I'm happy to be your enemy during this time in our life. Now, in your video you stated, fools will tell you that we don't have to be fit because we are not at war. Please keep such fools away from politics.
Fools will tell you that we don't have to be fit because we are not at war. Please keep such fools away from politics.
You saying so implies that I, who express anti-war sentiments, am anti-military and that I favor an unfit force simply because there's no immediate war. Maybe I'm not the kind of person who cares much about war and uniform and decoration. Maybe I'm not somebody under the fallen angel, Ares, the god of war. Yeah, maybe I'm a hippie. I'm somebody who totally doesn't like guns. We're not warmongers here, and we hope for no war here. We hope for any potential war to be met by humility from us. We must just put ourselves down and say, yo, we don't want to lose no one, right? We gotta, take the slap and give the other cheek and say, yo, man, aren't you satisfied? We ain't gonna fight you. We're not. Did you see what happened to the Palestinians there? Have you seen how much firepower the United States has? Have you seen how much slaying can be done by that country and its military? So, if there was to be a potential breakout of war, signs of it, chatter about it, I would say, let's start writing letters of apology or some things like that. And I think you'd agree with me, considering that our military is mainly made up of black people, the black South Africans. If our military was Cape Town boys standing there, ready to get struck by grenades like the white people in Ukraine. Have you been seeing white people croaking out in a field? Have you been seeing visuals of that? Have you seen visuals of drone warfare? Have you seen how Ukrainians have been just getting cornered with a bomb that just comes flying, navigates nicely? If you try to go around the tank, it goes around with you. You've seen those. If the potential was that it's going to be Cape Town boys there you'd be agreeing that no, let's just have some kind of humility if there's a war coming. It's a false characterization of my views. You are lying to your audience. By contrast, in my original commentary, I stated, I don't like any of that. I don't like bombs. I'm a lover of fighter jets. I actually wanted to become a fighter pilot, having watched Tom Cruise back in the day, but that just fizzled out. I'm just now a fan of the engineering of the aircrafts, the afterburner, that big blue flame that comes out of the back of a fighter jet. I just love the engineering of those things. The Eurofighter, Typhoon, the F-22, the F-16, the B-1 bomber. I like all of that engineering, but maybe there are people who attach their South Africanness with the decoration of the military. Maybe there's a people like that. I just don't function like that. And so whatever stumbling was happening during this funeral, whatever short clip we've seen, whatever huge embarrassment that is, whatever worth is tied to those fumbles as those people are carrying those caskets, whatever inferiority is trying to be brought on me as a South African, I just don't get it. I don't march with caskets. I don't wear uniforms. This is not a reflection of me. And no, wait. You might already be shouting, boo-hoo. Loving fighter jets doesn't mean you value our military and its fitness in any way. So you do actually want the military to be unfit like ANC politicians. The military needs to be fit in order to go and kill who? But wait still. If you continue listening, I did state that I'm not saying soldiers should be unfit. And I'm not saying that the military must be unfit people. In fact, according to my knowledge, and having a friend who is in the SANDF right now, my understanding is that being in the army is still a grueling, challenging work. I just know, having friends who are soldiers, let me not say friends, I have one friend who is a soldier. I remember being the one who drove him to the training military place out in Pretoria, dropping him off there. The SANDF had made calls for people to come and enlist. And so he went. He underwent training. He told me that he passed. Since then, he's been a guy who is earning a salary. He became a man at that exact moment. Before that, he was a dude on the street struggling. So I know him. I've liked him since then because he's constantly out and about. He's constantly deployed. Whatever footage he has to share, he shares it, where he's jumping out of planes and they are doing exercises, etc. In the background, our military is doing the things to be done. He says it's grueling. It's not child's play over there. So I don't really see what your criticism was about. I wondered whether the whole military is fed according to what you are suggesting to us. So what is the true judgment on the SANDF's performance here? What are we criticizing? Is everybody fat? Is everybody out of shape? This clearly shows my admiration for a disciplined, fit, and technically advanced military. Are many people touched by this? Do you want soldiers with ironed shirts, skinny, haircut, 22 to 30 years old, fresh, prim and proper? Perhaps bring on the white boys. Bring them in numbers. Volunteer your kids. All of you who are in Katlego's comments there, making criticisms, volunteer your children and then love war. Love the military because you've got somebody who's uniformed in your own house. I've never suggested that a fit military is undesirable. Perhaps bring on the white boys. You see, when they die out in the field, maybe you'll have that cut scene, the movies in the United States where a soldier has died and we cut away to two soldiers standing at the door, uniform, folded, being handed over to a crying mother and crying father. Maybe that'll be you. Maybe you've fallen in love with those movies. Volunteer your kids. Make them fit for killing. Make them fit to go be in the bush. Let them move from Cape Town, from Clifton to the DRC there. And then, once their fellows have been hurt and killed there, we will put cameras on their surviving friends and see how they march. Is that marching? See how they carry the casket. See how they walk. Let's judge how they are stepping. Let's not look at who actually died. Let's not give a heck about that. Let's finish this video, man. These quotes speak for themselves. While you twist my genuine interest in a robust, capable military into a narrative of anti-fit sentiment, the record proves otherwise. I invite all South Africans to look closely at these statements and recognize the divisive tactics at play. Further, in your video, you go on to play a clip of Lieutenant General Nchaveni Mapaha, who spoke about building a house and having a stick to protect it.
How many of you will build a beautiful and expensive house and not fence it and protect it? I don't think none of you will do that.
I like this guy. I like him. This is what I'm talking about. When you spend your wealth to buy nice TVs, to build a fancy house, there's always one thing you have to make sure you do. You have to fence the property. I've said this over and over again, and I don't know how many times we have to keep saying it for everyone to finally see it.
No, you cannot be a big brother if you are unable to wield a stick. That will make people be afraid.
This man is clearly one of us clever blacks, isn't he?
While you might want to make me sound like an idiot who does not value security, listen closely to my words because I actually echo the same sentiments Nchaveni echoes. This military thing is a necessary thing that is materialized in the natural world that we live in. Borders exist, good fences make good neighbors, people have a love for their domain, their privacy, people don't like trespassing, men are territorial. So as God has placed us here on earth, we mingled a little bit and then we realized that we needed fences. We realized that the neighbor next door is a drunk. He's crazy and he's got eyes for my woman. And so whenever my woman goes and fetches water by the river, the drunk next door smacks her on the bum. So I've had to pull out a weapon and draw a fence. And so neighbor to neighbor, fence upon fence, communities upon communities, countries on countries, we all just adopted that whole thing and we militarized. What was once a knobkiri, to go knock the drunk next door, is now a several $1 million fighter jet. So the love for military, the love for war, I understand that even nuclear weapons have become a necessity because there's a concept of mutually assured destruction. When one guy knows that the other guy has a gun as big as his, and that one guy knows that he faces a very serious likelihood of getting wiped out should he launch his weapons first, because that one will launch their weapons within half a minute. It deters everybody from being too aggressive, knowing that we all face the potential of screwing each other and losing our lives, keeps us away from some drunkenness. So, I'm not an idiot. I understand that a house cannot have a man who's not on guard. I understand that no country can exist without a military. Even in the Bible, there were armies. So this proves that I do believe in a capable, trained, disciplined, and modernized army, even to the extent of becoming nuclear superpowers as South Africa.